Good afternoon, dear friends. Welcome to our second video dedicated to millennials. Today I will talk about the opportunities for expanding your career, bringing your professional development to a next level, and how to know for sure when it's time to move on in what you're doing, when it's time to level up, so to speak. Personally, I had the chance over the last 10 years, let's say, how much I've been professionally involved in my career, to shift my profession several times, and every time it was successful. And I have to tell you that from my personal experience, and also speaking with hundreds and yeah, of people, not thousands but hundreds of people, it is always a bit daunting, it is exhausting, it is challenging, yet in the end it's very rewarding. And why? Because you don't know what you're capable of doing until you do it. And the reason why I'm here, metaphorically, and these bars are behind me, if you can see it, it's to me a metaphor for a cage where it seems that you have space, it seems that you have freedom, things are around you, yet at the same time there is something that is kind of restricting you. And I would like now to draw your attention to several trends which actually help us understand that we cannot have one career for life, because the jobs that we work in are not anymore designed for a lifetime. Unless you're building your own legacy, unless you're building your own company, but that's also a different story, because so many tech startups are actually built, and so many companies exist that actually reach certain point of scale, and after that they get sold for enormous amounts of money to big companies. And for the founders, it's the beginning of a new era and start of a, let's say, new career or a new venture. First of all, you should bear in mind that we live in the age of gig economy, which means that many young people, not only young people but especially millennials, are prone to that trend. And they decide to work as freelancers instead of working full-time in companies. This lifestyle enables them to travel, to work from wherever they want, from different locations and in different time zones. Also, people who decide to become part of gig economy probably prefer flexibility and freedom to stability and mundane routine tasks that in many companies you are supposed to do in order to run operations and in order to achieve certain results. If you, let's say, look at your own endeavors, probably you did so many things so far that you didn't like, but you did them because it was important to do it in order to complete a task. When it comes to freelancing, for many young people, it becomes an opportunity to specialize and to realize, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is what really excites me, and I want to go to focus only in that particular direction. I want to be this graphic designer in this niche, instead of doing everything that I'm required to do in, let's say, as agency. Of course, in gig economy, that means that competition is huge, and you really need to be somebody who is capable of becoming your own boss. The second trend that I want to draw your attention to is, although we don't have jobs for a lifetime, we have a reputation for a lifetime. And I would definitely agree with the saying, we have it takes 20 years to build your reputation, but only several seconds or minutes to ruin that. So we should be all aware of that. Whenever we do, however we, in whatever interaction we are, we should be aware of that simple truth, because in the age of social media, it is so important to be authentic. Even more than ever, it is so important to be who you are, and it is so important to show excellence and to really give your best in whatever you're doing, because in the times when jobs are and the market is very volatile, the people who thrive and who get ahead are the people who stand what they're doing. If I said it's going to be 2 videos per week, it's going to be 2 videos per week, and it's going to be videos that bring value to you. That's, for example, one situation where I can present the excellence in what I'm doing, and being true and authentic to what I'm saying I am. The third important factor to consider when you are deciding about your career shift is that our life paths are not linear. Today it may be the 10th or 11th of August, tomorrow it's the 12th of August. All of a sudden it's going to be mid-August, 1st of September, New Year is around the corner. And it is how time passes in our lives, right? However, our advancement doesn't work that way, because our the way we excel, the way we achieve more is not linear. I may encounter somebody today, I may encounter somebody in a nightclub on Friday night who will become important contact for my business. I may have a great family lunch on Sunday where I meet a long lost friend as well, and we further develop collaboration. Leverage that you build, it's the result of passage of time, and it's the result of small steps you take every day. However, if a challenge happens to us, and if there is something bigger than ourselves at the moment, and we are not sure how we will cope with it, we are not sure how we will solve it, it is so important to realize that probably some higher force than ourselves gives us so-called signal, and also symbol in a way, to change something in our life, to go for it, to go up front, to be the best version of ourselves, to pull off the sleeves and start doing push-ups, to start working harder than ever. And that's something I really want to draw your attention to, because for millennials especially, because we saw how our parents and grandparents lived, certain things are not acceptable. Certain way of being treated in companies, certain way of economic instability or turmoils, conflicts, certain way of relationships are not acceptable. And for people who have developed this kind of self-awareness, it's important to understand that situations that are not acceptable for you may get repeated several times at least, until you learn the lesson, hopefully, and until you're able to answer to that situation with a different, much smarter and much healthier way, so-called strategy, so to speak, for you. So that's very important for you to bear in mind when life gives you lemons and it gets very bitter, and you say, okay, how can I build, maybe really make some nice lemonade, refresh myself, even though it's very, very, very difficult for me, and move on. The fourth factor you should consider when you're moving to your next step in a career is what's the limit in the place where I am at the moment. Let's say you work in a certain city, country, and there is particular economic situation. Maybe there's a limit to how much people earn in that area, or maybe you are in a profession where you realize no matter how good you are, hardly there's nobody in the world that gets paid more for what you're doing. In that, if that's the case, it's time to reinvent yourself, and it's time to do that very seriously. We will be talking about rebranding yourself. We will be talking about building your reputation in some of the future videos. However, I would like to emphasize right now that whatever is the situation at the moment, you should really be self-aware and in a way critical and analytical, and with, as we say in Serbia, with cold head and not very emotionally, You should understand that maybe the place where you were was fantastic for you for the last 5 or 3 or 1 year, but actually it's time to move on. Maybe you are not in alignment with the vision of the company anymore where you are at. Maybe you don't have opportunity to develop yourself, and maybe it's time that you start something on your own. So all those situations are valid. All those insights that you get from asking those questions will help you to understand what's your next step. But it's so important to bear in mind that if you're not happy, you shouldn't just justify remaining somewhere where you're not happy anymore, because you will be in the cage, as you can see, as it's behind me, where, however, no matter how nice it seems, it's free for you. I mean, it's a place of freedom to you. And finally, I really agree with the quote of Jim Rohn, who said, we are the group of 5 people we spend most time with. What helped me so much achieve what I wanted in my life is being surrounded by people who are smarter than me, with accepting opinions of others, with being somebody who will champion my friends and colleagues, and being somebody who is a resource. If you are a strong person, if you are a character that it's, let's say, not satisfied with status quo, if you say, okay, I am earning that amount of money and I'm happy and I'm grateful for that, but I want to achieve more, not because I'm greedy, but because I know that if I learn more and if I develop certain skills, I will become more, then you are actually on the right channel at the moment, and you are on the right path in the future, because it really starts with the decision, and it really starts with understanding that feeling bad about your life, it's not acceptable, and feeling under stress, under enormous pressure, because it's a part of lifestyle, it's not acceptable as well, because we are programmed to live to be 100, I believe that, and we should really nurture our health, and we should really be nice to ourselves first in order to be amazingly energetic and compelling and kind for our friends, for our family, for our partners, for our clients, for our managers, audience, etc., etc. So bear in mind that, and I will leave this cage and greet you with some different message, because it's one of my mottos in life, which says, I hope you can see it, dance is my life, život je ples. So hopefully this was very useful to you, and I'll see you soon in the next video. If you liked it, share it with your friends, and I'll catch you soon. Thank you.